Life doesn't get easy. You're simply supposed to get wiser. The same storm that one ship carries another to new shores. It's not the economy, not the government, not your boss. It's your ability to adapt. Because if you don't learn to adjust when life shifts, you don't just stay the same, you fall behind. The rich aren't lucky, they're learners. The broke repeat, the wealthy evolve. Most people don't go broke overnight. They go broke quietly by clinging to what no longer works. They worship comfort and call it stability. But here's the truth: comfort kills ambition. The world keeps evolving, and if your mindset doesn't, you'll be rich in excuses but poor in results. Wealth doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who adjust. You know, one of the greatest delusions people live under is that life will somehow settle down. That one day, things will stop changing. And that the winds of the world will finally stand still. But let me tell you something, my friend, change never stops. The seasons will keep turning. The economy will rise and fall. Technology will evolve faster. You can blink. The only constant you will ever know is change itself. And here's the truth: most people never grasp. While change is inevitable, growth is always optional. You cannot stop the tide, but you can learn to surf it. You cannot control the wind, but you can adjust your sail. I remember a time in my career when the company suddenly collapsed. Overnight, everything I had relied on, the security, the structure, the comfort, was gone. I was angry at first. I blamed circumstances, the market, management, everything outside of me. But soon I realized that something changed my life. The problem wasn't that the company changed. The problem was that I hadn't. I had depended on a system that no longer existed, and I wasn't prepared for what came next. That's when I decided to never let change catch me unready. From that day forward, I became a student of change, not a victim of it. You see, most people spend their lives wishing things would stay the same. They cling to the familiar even when it no longer serves them. They say, I liked it better the old way. Why can't things just go back? Doesn't move backward. The rich, the successful, the ones who thrive, they expect the world to evolve. They don't resist change. They anticipate it. While others are complaining, they're adapting. While others are panicking, they're preparing. That's why they stay ahead. Because they move before they have to. Here's what I've learned: you must make curiosity your new instinct. When something changes, instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can I use this?" When the market shifts, when technology disrupts, when a door closes. But only those who look for it find it. Don't fear change. Study it. Don't avoid it. Prepare for it. The wealthy set aside time each week to learn what's new in their industry, to study emerging trends, to sharpen their edge. They don't wait for the world to push them forward. They walk ahead of it. Every day, spend just 1 hour learning, not scrolling, not wishing, but studying something that helps you grow. Call it your learning hour. Read, listen, observe, take notes, experiment. That single hour a day can change your income, your mindset, your destiny. Because when you stop learning, you stop earning. The day you decide to adapt faster than the world changes, you step into the arena where wealth and opportunity live. So, don't wish for stability in an unstable world. Wish instead to become so adaptable that no storm can shake you. That's how you grow richer, not by resisting change. So rega o kuno hitoga sugosu. It's a funny everyone wants to make more money, but few ever stop to ask. The real question, asterisk, have I grown enough to deserve it? Asterisk. See, money is not the problem. Opportunity is not the problem. The problem is usually times as asterisks. Because here's a truth I learned early on. Your income will almost never exceed your level of personal development. Sugini, subarashi gijutsu outsmart it or outrun it. Dono gijutsu. If you want to have more, you must first become more. The marketplace doesn't pay your need, it pays you for your value. And your value is determined by what you've become. I remember when I was earning pennies compared to the putting in. I used to get frustrated. Saigoni, why am I not being rewarded? A mentor looked in the eye and said, you're not being paid for the hour. You're being paid for the value you bring to the hour. That struck me like lightning. He was right. I wasn't being underpaid. I was being underdeveloped. I was showing up with time, but not with growth. From that day I stopped trying to demand and more started demanding more of myself. You see, the world doesn't give raises to complainers. It gives raises to learners. The moment you start growing, really growing, the world takes notice. When you expand your skills, your awareness, your discipline, you expand your capacity to earn. It's a law of life. Think about it. If your habits, your focus, your understanding stay the same, how can your income grow? You can't fit $1 million opportunity into a $5 mindset. Wealth requires a different version of you. Emotional ikiru koto wa dekimasen. More disciplined, more aware. Disupuri no ikiru koto desu. Disupuri wa anata ga doko ni ruka. So here's a challenge. Kankaku desu. Yumega kekka but with intention. Pick one good book a month on self-improvement, leadership, business, or communication. Moto konshisu tenshi of someone else's experience. Just a few evenings. Watashi no tabi no which of them are outdated? What's losing value in the marketplace? And more importantly, what new skills are in demand that you can learn? The world changes fast, and if your skill set doesn't, you'll soon find yourself irrelevant. Growth is not just a nice idea, it's survival in disguise. And finally, invest in your personal growth the same way you would invest in a business, with purpose, consistency, and accountability. Don't call it spending, call it sowing. Every dollar you put into your education, your mindset, your habits is a seed that will produce a harvest later. Cause here's the truth, your bank account is a reflection of your personal account. If you want that balance to rise, by enriching the person who owns it. When you become the kind of person more, handle more, and attract more, the money will follow naturally. The marketplace will always pay exactly what you're worth, no more, no less. So if you want to change what you're earning, first change who you're becoming. Growth first, income second. That's the order of wealth. You know, it's easy to set goals. Everyone does it at the start of the year, after a setback. But here's what I've learned. Goals don't work unless you do. Motivation is fleeting. It feels good, but it doesn't last. You can't build a life on emotion. You build it on discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are. It's the invisible that turns dreams into results. You don't need more inspiration. You need more consistency. Because while motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going when motivation disappears. I remember early in my journey, when I first wrote down my goals, a list of everything I wanted: financial freedom, better health, stronger relationships, more confidence. It was a beautiful list. But a month later, I looked at that list and realized nothing had changed. Why? Because I was still living the same way. I had the vision, but not the structure. I wanted transformation without the trade. That's when I learned one of life's hardest lessons. Success is not owned by the motivated. It's rented by the disciplined, and rent is due every single day. Discipline doesn't have to be dramatic. It's not about waking up at 400 or grinding until exhaustion. It's about small, consistent, intentional actions repeated faithfully over time. The wealthy don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems. They remove as many decisions as possible so that success becomes automatic. For example, they automate their savings and investments. Why? Because they know the hardest part isn't the saving, it's the moment of choice. If that money leaves your account before you can touch it, you've already won half the battle. Make discipline easy by designing it into your routine. Every morning, take a few minutes to review your goals. Not because they've changed overnight, but because you need to remind your mind of what you're working toward. The human brain is forgetful. It gets distracted by the noise of life. Reviewing your goals daily keeps your focus sharp and your direction clear. That simple act builds the habit of staying intentional, not reactive. And here's something powerful. Eliminate one unproductive habit every week. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's cutting back on social media, skipping one unnecessary expense. So no shitsumo every negative habit you remove creates a productive one to grow. It's not just about adding discipline. It's about subtracting distraction. I used to believe that discipline was a punishment, something rigid, something that took the fun out of life. But I learned that discipline is actually it says, I am worthy of keeping promises to myself. Every act of discipline strengthens your identity. Motivation will carry you through storms. So don't just dream big, act small consistently. Build habits that even when you don't feel like it, because every disciplined day closes the gap between your reality. And remember, discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. Choose the lighter load today, and your future self will thank you tomorrow. You know, I meet a lot of people who tell me they're chasing money. They're running after opportunity, chasing deals, trying to get rich quick. But let me tell you that something might surprise you. Money doesn't run away. It's not hiding. If you want money to find you, stop chasing it and start increasing your value. See, money doesn't respond to need, to worth. The marketplace doesn't care that you're broke, tired, or overworked. It cares about one thing: what value you bring to the table. And the moment you start serving people better, solving problems bigger, and improving lives faster, money will start chasing you. I remember when I was young and struggling, wondering why the wealthy seemed to have such an easy time making money. I thought they were lucky, born with the right opportunities. But I learned the truth the hard way. They weren't chasing money, they were building value. They were studying people, markets, systems, and solutions. They were asking one powerful question every day: how can I become more valuable to more people? That question changed everything for me. Because once you stop asking, how can I get more? Kinwa mokuyo dewa arimasen. Zaisano ryo suru tameni. The secret to success isn't in asking for better pay. It's in becoming the kind of person you don't get paid for your time. You get paid for the value you create during that time. That's why two people can work the same hours, yet one earns 10 times more. The difference isn't effort, it's impact. The more people you serve, and the better you serve them, the richer you become, not just in money, but in reputation, opportunity. Anatawa suuninkan. Identify 3 skills that make you genuinely useful. Skills that directly improve someone else's life or business. Maybe it's teaching, selling, designing, leading, or creating. The wealthy that understand you valuable that every in the market and then time. Master communication because they may not sit in the broken ending page until working for school. To this, how can I make many? Fast and day amintum kuwashikunai. It's how long you can keep it what it dies in silence. Finally, focus on building something a real problem. Create a product. Replaying a game of endurance. That makes someone's life easier, this happier, or more efficient. Over years of the world rewards problem-wise investment, not wishful daily discipline. The more pain you remove, every decision you make today is shaping your next 10 years. I learned that once I stopped worrying and started focusing on becoming valuable, everything of long-term opportunities began to appear. Doors started to open, and the money I had been chasing started showing up on its own. So, if you're tired of chasing, start building. Become the person others can't afford to ignore. Because when you focus on value, wealth becomes a natural byproduct. Remember, money isn't the goal. It's the reward for making yourself useful in a world full of problems, waiting for your solutions. Most people want success fast. They want results today, returns tomorrow, and freedom by the weekend. But the truth is, Wealth doesn't move at the speed of emotion. It moves at the speed of discipline. The rich think in decades, while the broke think in days. The difference isn't intelligence, it's perspective. The wealthy understand that every great result takes time. They plant trees knowing they may not sit in their shade for years, but they plant anyway because they're thinking ahead. The broke, on the other hand, eat the seed. They trade tomorrow's harvest for today's comfort. I learned this lesson early on when I was just getting started, broke and impatient, looking for shortcuts to success. I'd ask, how can I make money fast? And one day, a mentor told me, the question isn't how fast you can make it, it's how long you can keep it. Once you do, that hit me hard. Because fast money is temporary, built money is permanent. The rich aren't playing a game of income, they're playing a game of endurance. They understand that true wealth is built in layers over years of smart decisions. Every decision you make today is the greatest enemy of long-term freedom. I deserve to treat myself. Sorel kyo kasuru kotoga the wealthy flip that mindset. Zaisano fuyasu kotoga dekiru. Zaisano fuyasu kotoga dekiru. That $20 lunch. Zaisano fuyasu kotoga dekiru. Zaisano fuyasu kotoga dekiru. Goshichou arigato. The question is whether it works for you or disappears because of you. So here's a simple challenge. Create a 10-year financial vision, not just a wish list. Where will you live? What will your investments earn? How will your time be spent? Then, break it into yearly targets. When you measure your progress over a decade, and the daily actions start to make sense. Not your weekend spending. I used to remind myself, begins as a small foundation. Don't rush the process. Respect it. Spend a lifetime. You can only build it layer by layer. Wealth doesn't not to give away a raise, an impulse, an investment, or where the rate of freedom begins. It starts with a decision. Is the most decision part of stop chasing not spend. Watashi ga peace. Watashi wa nokori no mono kasu started thinking big. Chikashi, the choice, as always, is yours. There comes a moment in everyone's journey changes how much can I make to what will all this mean when I'm gone? That's the moment when true wealth begins. Watashi wa oda gyakutensaseru ni. You see, the act of saving is poverty in disguise. Just financial. The poor focus on accumulation. The wise focus on continuation. Mind. What you build for yourself will last a while, but what you build for others can last forever. Learned this lesson after years of chasing results. I thought success was about income, possessions, recognition. But then one evening, after long seminar, Hitori no Masutani what you taught tonight changed the way I see my future. In that moment, I realized that's wealth. The kind that doesn't fade, doesn't fluctuate. Anata ga shiharayo surutoki. No zeikinya legacy is the ultimate wealth. Jibu no chikarao shinji nai. We all suffer one of two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Okane ga fueruto, habits and results. The pain of regret builds nothing but sorrow when you live only for yourself. Regret is waiting at the end. But when you live to build, teach, Zaisanritsuo agete, and purpose turns wealth into something far more than numbers in a bank account. It becomes a story worth telling. The strategy is simple. Multiply your impact. Wealth is incomplete until it flows into others. When you teach what you've learned, It works while you're
when you give,
but it all
you
begins
don't lose
with
wealth.
that single act
You
of
expand
respect
your
towards
capacity
your own
for
future.
more.
I've seen
Setting
people
something
hold
aside
tightly to
before
their
you
money
spend,
that it
so the next
eventually
time you
slips
earn.
away. And I've seen others give freely. Shigoto no hoshū dewa, because the act of giving rewires your relationship with abundance. It reminds you that money is a tool, not a trophy. Here's something practical. Teach one financial or life principle to someone each week. Jibunjishi no jiu no ayumi, anyone willing to learn. Share what experience has taught you. Create a giving goal right next to your income goal. Shikashi also aim to give more this year. Don't just count dollars, count the difference you make. And as you grow, document your lessons. Write them down. Hotondo no will thank you because wisdom unrecorded is wisdom lost. I've come to believe that isn't legacy built at the end of your life. Taihen na kangai kata o how you treat people, what you teach, what you give, and what you stand for. Wealth that ends with you dies with you. Wealth that passes, but the wealthy build systems that make ends meet. Yes, I remember when I was just starting out to me, because one day bus yearning a living, but you started building a fortune. My friend, is the richest kind of wealth there is. Because when I first began my financial independence, I learned a truth that changed everything. If you don't learn to pay yourself first, you'll spend a lifetime paying everyone else. Wealth doesn't start with a raise, an investment, or a lucky break. It starts with a decision. The decision to keep a portion of what you earn. Part of all you earn is yours to keep. Not to spend, not to owe, not to give away in impulse. That's where the seed of freedom begins. Most people work hard all their lives, yet they never learn that the first person Bimbo Shano Zaisano when I was broke, I made a habit of saying, I'll save what's left after expenses. But there was never anything left. Because here's the secret. There's never anything left when saving is optional. The bills, the wants, the distractions. They always expand to consume the whole check. It wasn't until I reversed the order, until I paid myself first, that everything changed. I treated myself like my first bill, not my last priority, and slowly my future began to take shape. You see, the act of saving isn't just financial, it's psychological. It tells your mind, I value my future more than my impulses. Zaisanwa paying yourself first means before a single dollar leaves your hand. Zaisanwa chansude tateraremasen. Sutorakucha. It doesn't matter if it's 10%, 15%. What matters is the discipline of doing it consistently. Minaga so surukoto des. Zaisano tateru. Or a vacation. This is your never touch fund. The foundation of your financial independence. This account exists to serve one master, your future self. Treat it as sacred. Here's how you make it real. Automate the process. Every time you get paid, have your savings or investments pull automatically. Don't rely on willpower. Mazushi hito wa mazushiku to emotion makes promises. Mazushi when your income increases, increase your savings rate too. Mazushi hito wa they get a raise and immediately expand their lifestyle. The wealthy get a raise and expand their investment. That's how they stay ahead, by letting their money work harder than they do. I remember when I first hit a point my investments started earning more in a year. Sugino it was a quiet moment of realization that wealth isn't about effort anymore. It's about alignment. When you pay yourself first, your money begins to serve you. It grows, compounds, and eventually it works while you rest. Ekusutorao kase towards your own future, setting something aside before you spend. So the next time you earn, pause. Before the spending begins, ask yourself, have I paid me yet? Because if you don't, wealth isn't a reward for work, it's a result of wisdom. And wisdom says, pay yourself first, always. The moment you do, Toushino Tanoshimi and into stewardship, and from there, the journey to freedom truly begins. When I was young and broke, Koufuno Kanjimas, work harder, earn more. But as the years passed, I began to notice something strange. The people working the hardest often had the least, and the people who seemed calm, strategic, almost effortless in their actions were the ones building true wealth. That's when I learned the great shift of thinking that separates the rich from everyone else. Watashi no toushi, they make money work for them. Sorega watashi tachi o bunrisuru, the poor chase it. Emo shonwizudo muueruto wa, but the wealthy build that make it multiply. I remember when I was just starting working long days, trying to make ends meet. One evening, a mentor said to me, Atarashi kazoku, but have you started building a fortune? Kankeyo sodateru tameni. Keiken wa zaisan stops with your effort. Building assets, though, is exponential. When you build assets, your effort compounds. You create something that continues after the initial work is done. The difference between earning and owning. Butit was powerful. So Watashi wa genjitsu no strategy is simple but not easy. Zaisan wa shizukani ugoki, kouritsu teki ni ugoki. Hokano and start asking shutsugen shiteru idani. Zaisan wa konran shiteru. Mazushi investments, real estate, businesses, intellectual property, liabilities. On the other hand, take money out of your pocket. The shiny car, the endless upgrades, the toys that lose value the moment you buy them. The broke measure wealth by what they can buy. The rich measure wealth by what they can build. Start with what you have. It doesn't take millions to begin. It takes mindset. Begin by investing a small portion of into your something that grows. Buy assets that generate cash flow if it's modest at first. Stocks that pay dividends, a rental property, or equity in a small business. And here's the key. Reinvest your profits. The temptation will always be to spend, to reward yourself, to show progress. But remember, wealth is quiet, debt is loud. Every dollar reinvested is a soldier sent out to work for you. That stream dried up. How money the economy while changed. I slept. And suddenly, because if your money isn't earning while you're resting, you'll be working while others are free. Learn how compounding works. It's not just a financial principle. It's a philosophy of patience and persistence. Weave a net. Multiple sources of income that catch you no matter what happens. Begin to grow and the strategy of their own. Build at least 3 isn't built by chance. And self-control. Don't just earn money. That's what everyone does. Build assets. That's what the wealthy do. Every dollar you earn has a job. Either it serves you or it enslaves you. Choose the first. Then you do. That's when you step into freedom. The kind of freedom that time can't steal. Circumstances can't take away. I once heard someone say, the poor buy things, the rich buy income. And after years of observing both sides of that I can tell you it's absolutely true. You see, the poor spend to feel rich, while the rich invest to become rich. The difference lies in what they do with their profits. Every time you earn more than you need, you're faced with a choice. Will this extra income build your future? Or will it disappear into that something only looks good for a moment? Wealth isn't about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. But many streams when I began to earn real money, I made the same mistake many people made. I started celebrating too soon. I bought things I didn't need to prove I was successful. And do you know what happened? I looked successful, but felt empty. My money was leaving faster than it came in. Isn't pleasure, it's progress. Profit is the tool you use to build stability, freedom, and legacy. It's the seed of your next opportunity. But too many people eat the seed instead of planting it. The strategy is simple. Direct your profits into growth, not gratification. When you earn extra, and enjoy 20%. The problem with most is that they reverse that ratio. They enjoy 80% and hope the remaining crumbs will somehow multiply. But crumbs don't compound. The 3% who achieve financial independence understand that the joy of investment far outweighs the thrill of impulse. They find excitement not in what they buy, but in what they build. Let me tell you something that helped me immensely. Began delaying every major purchase by 30 days. No exceptions. That small discipline exposed how much of what I wanted wasn't really a need. After a month, most of those must-have desires faded. My investments, my vision, those stayed. That's how you separate emotion from wisdom. Wealth is never built by emotion. It's built by intention. And when you do reward yourself, reward with experiences, not liabilities. Take your family somewhere new. Learn something that grows your mind or your relationships. The rich understand this. They seek memories, not maintenance. They know that the newest car or gadget may shine but today, will rust tomorrow. But the wisdom, the network, the freedom that comes from disciplined reinvestment, that lasts. I remember a time when one of my small investments began producing returns that covered my basic expenses. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't public. Because that's when I realized real wealth doesn't announce itself. It moves quietly, efficiently, compounding while others are showing off. The poor spend for applause. The rich invest for independence. So before you celebrate your next profit, pause. Ask yourself, is this a purchase or a possibility? Is it something that fades or something that grows? Because every dollar has a destiny. And when you choose investment over indulgence, your money starts working for you instead of against you. That's when wealth stops being a wish. One of the greatest lessons because life, in its unpredictable nature. But when the business that seemed unstoppable may slow down, the market that looks stable. Security never comes from one source. It comes from diversity. The wealthy understand this truth deeply. They don't rely on a paycheck. They build pipelines. I had one source of income. But then 1 year, that stream dried up. That's when I realized it's not enough to work in your income. You must work on your income. The wealthy don't build one river. They build several. Because if one dries up, the others keep flowing. That's how financial storms are weathered, through preparation, not panic. Here's the philosophy. Don't tie your future to a single rope. One cut and it all falls. Of income that catch you no matter what happens. Build at least 3 streams: earned income, passive income, and investment income. Earned income is what you work for. Passive income is what works for you. And investment income is what multiplies what you've already built. The balance between these creates true stability and freedom. Start with what you know. Dakara watashi wa jinsei de motomo juyo, something that others would pay to learn. Turn that into a side hustle, a small online business, or a consulting offer. The world rewards those who create solutions, not just those who show up for a paycheck. Then, take a portion of what you earn. That generate income, rental 612, dividend-paying stock, or a share in someone else's business. These aren't quick wins. They're quiet builders. They work while you sleep, while you rest, while you plan your next move. I remember when I began earning my first small checks. Anata wa kushono motei nainara. Anata wa panikukara. A bill or two. Shikashou. Anata ga jundishiteru tokini. Without my constant presence. Narukara des. Katasuto fino kawarini. Zeikindakimasu. Zeikindewanaka. That work in your absence. Ensure diversifying your income isn't greed. It's wisdom saying, I will not let one storm sink my ship. The poor depend on one engine. The rich build a fleet. Don T. Fall in love with one investment. You start with one. Fall in love with wisdom. Then spread your risk. Each new your money may begin as different channels. The others real carry estate, you forward. Business. Wealth loves the wise wealth. So ask yourself if your main income stops tomorrow and growing. How long could you stay afloat? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, that's your call to action. Begin today. Build something small on the side. Invest a little in something that grows. Create something that others can benefit from. Because one stream may sustain you, but many streams will secure you. And security, real lasting security. That's the foundation of wealth. If there's one timeless that principle governs every form of wealth, it's this: all value comes from service to others. Money doesn't chase greed, it chases usefulness. If you want more, you must find a way to serve more. The flow of money is simply a reflection of the flow of value, and those who contribute the most earn the most. Every fortune ever built was built on serving this foundation, people, solving problems, and making life better for someone else. I learned early in life that money doesn't come because you need it. It comes because you deserve it. Because you've earned it through contribution. Need has never been a factor in wealth creation. The market doesn't pay you for your desperation. It pays you for your difference. It rewards those who find the need and fill it with excellence. Think about it. Every wealthy individual you admire, from business owners to inventors to teachers of great ideas, became wealthy because they served at scale. They didn't just sell a product, they offered transformation. They didn't just meet expectations, they exceeded them. The philosophy is simple, yet few live by it. To create wealth, focus less on making money and more on making meaning. When you make life easier, faster, smoother, or more joyful for others, you've built the foundation of prosperity. The wealthy wake up each day asking, whose life can I improve today, and how? They understand that the secret to abundance is usefulness. The more people you help, the more inevitable your own success becomes. Now, let's talk strategy. Find the skill, the talent, the knowledge you have that helps others save time, money, or stress, because those are the currencies of modern value. If you can save someone an hour, you've given them freedom. If you can save them money, you've given them security. If you can remove their stress, you've given them peace of mind. That's worth more than gold. Once you've identified that skill, don't stop there. Ask yourself, how can I 10x the value I give? Don't just sell a product. Build an experience. Don't just offer service, deliver excellence. People don't pay more for average. They pay more for certainty, for quality, for trust. In my own journey, I found that when I stopped asking, how can I make more money, and started asking, how can I make more difference, my income began to reflect that change in focus. When I started speaking, I wasn't paid for my words. I was paid for the value my words created in others. When someone left the room thinking differently, feeling empowered, taking new action, that was value. And value always finds a way to reward you. Here's the practical truth. Wealth doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your service. Every product, every business, every great idea that changed the world began with someone saying, I can help. And the better they help, the more the world paid them back. So, don't chase the paycheck. Chase the purpose. Don't compete for income, compete in impact. Because the day you decide to serve with excellence, the day you commit to solving bigger problems, more people, that's the day you step into the flow of wealth that never runs dry. Serve first. And watch how the universe, in its perfect balance, finds a way to serve you right back. Wealth is not just something you build, it's something you protect, nurture, and multiply. The true test of a wise person is not how fast they can make money, but how well they can keep it and make it grow. Because once you've earned your freedom, the challenge isn't accumulation, it's preservation, it's wisdom. Financial independence isn't the result of luck or timing. It's the reward for discipline, foresight, and sound decision-making. You see, money without wisdom is soon parted. But money guided by principle and prudence becomes a force that endures for generations. In my early years, I met people who made great fortunes and lost them just as quickly. They worked hard, but they didn't think ahead. They mistook prosperity for permanence. They forgot that wealth is like a garden. If you don't protect it from pests and storms, it won't last long. It takes careful planning, regular pruning, and consistent care. That's why I learned one of life's most important lessons. Protect before you project. Before dreaming of what's next, make sure what you already have is safe. Let's begin with the first layer of protection: your foundation. You must have a safety net, an emergency fund that covers at least 6 to 12 months of living expenses. Because the truth is, life will test you. There will be unexpected bills, medical emergencies, business slowdowns, or market downturns. If you have no cushion, you'll always be one step away from panic. But when you're prepared, challenges become inconveniences instead of catastrophes. Next comes insurance, not as an expense, but as a shield. Insure your income, your health, and the assets that would be difficult to replace. Think of insurance as renting peace of mind. The wealthy don't gamble with what they can't afford to lose. They understand that protection is not fear, it's foresight. It's the discipline to secure today what others will wish they had tomorrow. And once you've built your foundation, then comes the multiplication. Never let one source, one stock, or one trend control your destiny. The rule is simple: diversify or disappear. Don't fall in love with one investment. Fall in love with wisdom. Spread your risk. Let your money flow through different channels: real estate, business, equity, stocks, and income-producing assets. When one slows, the others carry you forward. This isn't just strategy, it's survival. I remember once watching a man made a fortune in a single industry. For years, he believed it would last forever. But when that market shifted, he lost nearly everything. The lesson was painful but clear. Never build your financial house on one foundation. Build it on many. Wealth loves the wise. It rewards those who treat it with respect, who study it, who protect it before they attempt to multiply it. Don't let greed rush you into reckless decisions. Don't chase what glitters. Pursue what grows. Take time to learn, to study markets, to understand how your money behaves. Because wealth doesn't stay where it isn't understood. So remember this: earning money is only the first half of the equation. Keeping and growing it is the other half. Protect what you have built, and let it multiply in safety. The rich don't pray for luck, they prepare with wisdom. Build your foundation, guard your assets, and let your wealth serve you, not just today, but for the rest of your life. My friends, life will always reward the ones who prepare, who grow, who adapt, and who protect what they've built. Don't wait for better times. Create them through wisdom, discipline, and vision. Remember, wealth isn't about having more, it's about becoming more. Let every dollar you earn, every habit you form, and every decision you make move you toward freedom, not dependency. So starting today, take ownership of your growth, secure your future, and multiply your value. Act now, because the seeds of tomorrow's fortune are planted in today's discipline. Adapt, evolve, and keep building.